Hello everyone, my name is Nick Infernus and welcome back to another comic book review. Yeah, let's just get into it. Ant-Man. Phase 5 has finally began, and if I'm being honest, if I can give my thoughts away early, we're off to a great start. This movie has kind of been getting a lot of hate recently to the point where it's tied with Eternals for the worst critic score for an MCU film on Rotten Tomatoes. But as you might have also seen, the audience score is way better. And yes, I do identify a lot more with the audience score than the critic score here. So, why do I love this movie? Well, for one, I think the environment of the quantum realm is very fascinating. It's unlike any environment that I've seen anywhere. There's a lot of very interesting landscapes and creatures, and the whole place just has this very fun sci-fi feel that I really hope we get to go back to at some point because it's a very interesting place. And I also really liked this movie's villain. So this is the movie that properly introduced Kang the Conqueror, who is said to be the next big bad of the of the MCU, similar to what Thanos was for the Infinity Saga. And this is probably going to be one of the most interesting variants they've done so far because he's a variant that the other Kang variants considered so dangerous that they banished him to the quantum realm. And now he's out for their blood. And frankly, yeah, he's scary. He scares me. And really, I'm scared for the Avengers if all those Kangs in the mid-credit scene are if they're going to have to fight all those Kangs because I'm not entirely sure how that's going to go when you just have a few superheroes against an infinite amount of Kangs. It's crazy. And those post-credit scenes were absolutely crazy. The Loki teaser was especially nice. And now the big thing with Ant-Man movies is that they've been they've focused quite a bit on family. A big part of the first movie was the love that Scott had for his daughter Cassie, and him wanting to earn back the trust of his ex-wife and her new husband, so he could see Cassie again. And here, Cassie's grown up, and I can honestly feel the chemistry between her and Scott. It's a very nice father-son bond, and here you especially get the feeling that Hope, Hank, and Janet are a part of the family as well. They have a lot of really nice moments, especially some different moments between Scott and Cassie. I hear a lot of people saying that, Cassie kind of learned how to use the Ant-Man tech so quickly. I have two counterpoints to that. For one, the blip happened, and she did not get blipped. In fact, she's the only one of the five main characters in this movie whose name wasn't on the wall. I say who wasn't blipped. I would say who wasn't blipped, but we all know that Scott didn't get blipped. So she had 5 years if she was interested to learn the technology. And even in this movie, she doesn't really pull it off that great at first. She's not really great at it. And even by the end of the movie, she's not exactly great at it. But she does do enough to where Scott telling her that he's proud of her does feel at least a little bit earned. That, and I also thought the comedy here was pretty good. None of it was as good as the falling suitcase scene from the first movie. That, just thinking about that again, I don't know what it is about that scene, but whenever I think about it, it brings a grin to my face. Like, just thinking about all the different aspects of it. I could probably make a whole video about it'll be a short video, but I could probably make a whole video about why I love that scene so much. But the comedy we do get here is pretty nice. It's it's mostly fish out of water humor because Janet's the only one who's actually been to the quantum realm, so a lot of the characters' reactions to the different customs that the citizens have, especially with the whole drink the ooze thing, and Veb, who I found to be very endearing, especially with it's almost like they gave him a very tiny arc in the movie where there's just something so endearing about him celebrating that he has holes, despite the connotations that that word has nowadays. It's just a really nice scene. And a lot of the humor involving MODOK is also really good. Though, speaking of MODOK, that's kind of a double edged sword because while I do find a lot of his scenes funny, if sometimes an awkward kind of funny, he does feel out of place here. Now, I actually don't hate his design. I actually like his design more than in the comics because, seriously, it's like, I don't know why you would design your mechanical organism with hair. Because, like, oh no, mental organism. I'm sorry. He's a mental organism designed only for killing. Why would you give him hair? Now, not just hair. Why would you give him a bowl cut? Of all the things, you could have given him a bowl cut. Yeah, I'm fine with him being bald, frankly. And I am also glad that they did establish and also confirm the theory that that Darren did end up becoming MODOK, even if some of the jokes they made at his expense were a bit goofy. Goofy, fun, but considering how dangerous and dark Kang is, it does feel out of place to have big, dark villain, goofy side villain. It's not necessarily like the movie can't pick a tone. It's just that it has a tone it wants to do, it just keeps breaking it with goofiness. It doesn't ruin the movie or anything. I still enjoyed it. It's just something that I had an issue with. Another thing is mainly involving Janet. I feel like a lot of the conflicts between characters could have been resolved or wouldn't have even had to have happened if she had just told her family what happened in the quantum realm. Now, chances are we wouldn't have a movie if that were to happen, but at the same time, it wouldn't create as much confusion. Confusion. Wow. Confusion. I cannot enunciate. The last issue I had, this is an extremely minor thing, but after hearing what the original ending was, I'm not gonna lie, I think I might like that more. The ending that we have here is that Scott is able to make it back into the quantum realm. Well, Scott's able to make it back into the normal world. I don't know what they call the actual world above the quantum realm, but the normal world. He gets a cake for Cassie because he missed so many of her birthdays, and they celebrate all the birthdays they missed. And also Kang ends up dying, which sucks, but there are other variants of him coming, so I'm not as bummed out about that as I am with some other villains. That being said, the original ending was that Scott and Hope would get trapped in the quantum realm, and then Kang would get out and wage war on the variants that banished him. I'm not even gonna lie, that would have been a much better ending. I like the ending that we got enough, but the ending that we could have gotten is just way better. All that complaining aside, I do think that this is a great entry into Phase 5, and definitely does a better job at tying the multiverse or tying things into the multiverse than most of the Phase 4 projects. And this is definitely a 4 for me. I'd say it's probably my favorite of the Ant-Man movies by a bit. This one feels like it's a much bigger deal than the previous movies, though I do like the previous movies enough. Hell, I love the first movie and consider it one of the best of Phase 2. But I just looked over at Metroplex and I saw that he was looking at me. Hey, buddy, gonna have to turn your head when I'm done here. But yeah, honestly, if I had one recommendation here other than seeing the movie, just wait until you hear what other people have to say, because if this movie and Black Adam taught us anything, the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes isn't always the most reliable when it comes to, well, it doesn't reflect the best when it comes to the actual experience. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for my review of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. If you enjoyed, you know what to do. I'm not going to bore you with all that generic stuff. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Godspeed. Now, please excuse me while I go and fix Metroplex's head.